Got to give the people, give the people what they want. Ah, yeah. All right. It's Bass right here. About to do some Algebra 2 type things with you all. Hope everybody's doing well. I just want to let you know you all were killing it on that quiz that we gave you across the board. It's looking real good. Decided to give you a little bit of extra practice on this graphing with the quadratics using the zero product property. All right, let's go ahead and just get down to it. So please go ahead and write everything down here. And here's what I want you to do. The key to this is you doing the work before I actually show you what to do. This is just practice. I got some things that have, a little bit of tricks here and there that, some of the tricky things that might come up. So please try them on your own. Hopefully you paused it right now and you're trying to graph and label this first one, x squared minus 5x minus 14. And now you've done it and you're going to come back and check to see if you were correct. So if I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, I need to put it in factored form, which means I need to factor this bad boy. Let me go ahead and get this popping. Boom, bong, bong. So we know we have an x squared here. We have a minus 14 here. We know that blank times blank needs to equal negative 14, and blank plus blank, and remember, I'm referring to these two spots right here, needs to equal negative 5. So what can I multiply and get 14, add and get negative 5? I'm seeing a 2 and a 7. 7 needs to be negative. Negative 14, negative 5. Boom. So this is a negative 7x. This is a 2x. Let me go ahead. I know my only options here are x times x. My only option here is x is minus 7. My only option here is 2. So I end up with x minus 7 times x plus 2. All right? Again, that's all stuff that you should have. I'm not talking a whole bunch about it. And from here, I know, well, if x minus 7 equals 0, then my x-intercept is 7. So one of my x-intercepts is 7, 0. And if x plus 2 is going to be equal to 0, my other x-intercept is negative 2. Negative 2, 0. These are my x-intercepts. Bong, bong. So I'm in pretty good shape right now. So I'm looking at this. Oh, you should hopefully have a calculator handy as well. And I say, okay, well, I know I got a parabola. It looks like this. I have an x-intercept at negative 2. And I have another x-intercept at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here, why did I do that? At 7. But now I need to find the vertex. Okay. So I know the vertex is halfway between negative 2 and 7. So I can just literally count 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Uh-oh. They would meet right in the middle. So where is this? This is 1, 2. Looks like 2.5 to meet. So my vertex is going to be where x equals, so for my vertex, I know that the x value is going to be 2.5, and now I'm just trying to find the y value. So I'm going to plug that into the equation. And remember, I could do this another way. I could have just said, well, 7 plus negative 2, but basically add them together, which gets me a 5. And then divide it by the two terms, and 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. I could do this multiple ways, all right? Let me get this out of my way here, though. However you choose to do it doesn't really matter, but just recognize the vertex is 2.5. Now, oops. Now, I'm going to plug this x value into my equation. And I'm just going to plug it into the original. So I'm going to take 2.5 squared minus 5 times 2.5 minus 14. I just plugged it into the original equation. I could have plugged it into the factored equation too. I just chose the original. And I'm going to use my calculator. 2.5 times 2.5 is, so this becomes 6.25 minus 5 times 2.5 is 12.5 minus 14. So 6.25 minus 12.5 minus 14 equals negative 20.25. So now that I know this is 2.5 and negative 20.25. So I'm just going to say, let's boom this here. Let's just pull this down here. I'm going to say this is where negative 20.25 on the y-axis is. So boom, boom, boom. There is my first parabola. And hopefully yours looks something like that. All right, 1 down, 2 to go. Next one. Pause it right now. Go ahead and factor this bad boy and graph it. Cool, you did it. So we're going to follow the same patterns. All right, and hopefully you did that because you're a good student and you realize, yeah, it's really going to actually help me if I try this first and then see if I'm right and or see where my mistakes were. So I need to factor this. Oops. So let me go ahead. Bong, 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 bong. We have a negative x squared. We have a negative 48. Ooh, this is looking kind of ugly. And I don't like where I put it either. So let me go ahead and slide that down. All right. So I know that blank times blank needs to equal negative 1 times negative 48. So that's a positive, 48. And blank plus blank need to add up to 14. Sheesh, I don't know what this is. 48 multiply 14. What are my factors of 48? Well, 1 times 48 is not going to give me 14. 2 times 24 is not going to give me 14. 3. What is 48 divided by 3? I feel like that might work. Ooh, 3 times 16. But that won't give me a 14. 48 divided by 4. 4 times 12. Is that going to give me 14? No. 5 times nothing. 6 times 8 is 48, right? 48 divided by 6 is 8. And 8 plus 6 is 14. There we go. 6, 8. So now they both need to be positive, so that's a 6x, that's an 8x. All right, here's where it gets a little bit ugly. I know one of these x's has to be negative, so here's x, here's x. Okay, it gives me negative x squared. The only way I'm going to get this, if this is minus 6, that's, no, plus 6, excuse me. Negative x, nope. Look at me not knowing how to do math. It does have to be minus 6 because negative x times negative 6 is positive 6. The only way for this to be a positive 8 is for this to be 8, and negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. Oh, this is easy. Easy peasy. Okay, so we know that this factors to x minus 6 and negative x plus 8. All right. So now, what do we know? We're going to find the x-intercepts. So x minus 6 has to equal 0 plus 6 plus 6. X equals 6. So my first x-intercept is 6, 0. And now this is where people sometimes make a mistake. Negative x plus 8 has to equal 0. Minus 8 minus 8, negative x equals negative 8. Well, that's not my answer, so I still have to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, and x equals actually positive 8. Okay, so I have my other, what's this called? My other x-intercept at 8, 0. Well, let me go ahead and graph these bad boys. See if I can find the space. Oh, 6 and 8, huh? I'm not gonna graph it like that. I'm gonna move this over a little bit. Since all my actions at 6 and 8, I'm gonna say that here is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 6. Here's 8. What's halfway between 6 and 8? I'm gonna say that's 7. So my vertex is at 7 something, right? Because that's the halfway point between 6 and 8. All right. So now I'm just going to plug that in, and I'm going to plug that 7. I'm going to plug it into this equation. That should make it nice and easy. 7 minus 6 times negative 7 plus 8. 7 minus 6 is 1. Negative 7 plus 8. That's 1, right? There's 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Ah, look at that. And this makes sense, though, because let's think about this. This thing was negative, so my quadratic should be pointing down, which means if this was 1, my vertex should be above this, so this points down. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. This was what was it? 7, 1. All right. I just made it happen. You guys are doing great. Killing the game. Hopefully you see any mistakes. Hopefully you didn't even have any mistakes, because y'all are G's like that. All right. Last one. We're doing the same thing. So I'm just going to draw this here. I probably shouldn't have, but whatever. We'll see if it works out. I'm going to factor this bad boy. We see how the first one was different because the vertex was like a halfway point. The second one was different because it was pointed negative, and you had to do a little loving. Let's see how this one is different. 2x squared. I think this is going to be different because it's a little harder to factor. Hopefully you already saw that, but you didn't have any troubles because you guys are awesome. All right. So we get blank times blank is going to equal negative 2. Blank plus blank is going to equal negative 1. Oh, come on. Negative 2, negative 1. When do I multiply and get negative 2? Okay. Negative 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative. Okay. So this is a negative 2x, and this is a 1x. Remember, it doesn't matter what you put where. It's going to work out. So here's where you got to do a little thinking, right? One of these is going to have to be a 2, and one of these is going to have to be a 1. But look across. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times something is negative 2. That's fine. But then you should also look down. 2 times something is 2, but 2 times nothing is 1, or no whole number. And most likely these are going to be whole numbers. So I probably don't want to set it up that way. What if I flipped them around and put the 2x here and the 1x here? Well, 1 times something is still 2, and 1 times something is 1. 2 times something is 2, and 2 times something is 2, right? These are all multiples of 2, so that just works out a lot cleaner. So that probably makes more sense. All right, so let's see. 1 times 2, 1x times 2x is 2x squared, and this is plus 1. And 2 times, that's a 1, 2, no, this is a minus 1 right here. And then negative 1 times positive 1 gives me this negative 1. Oh, this is nice and pretty. So I end up with x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. All right, so now this is what y is going to equal. And now I'm going to find my factors. So x minus 1 equals 0, plus 1, plus 1. Excuse me, I'm finding my x-intercepts. X equals 1. So 1 x-intercept is 1, 0. There's some more space. 2x plus 1 has to equal 0 to find this other x-intercept. Minus 1, 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals negative 1/2. So my other x-intercept is negative 1/2, 0. So now I have to work with this. Again, bust my calculator out right here. And now I need to figure out what's halfway between 1 and negative 1/2. Here's where I'd probably just go ahead and I'll start adding these. So 1 plus negative 1/2, or if you want to think about it like this, negative 0.5. Right? That might be a little easier because it's easier to plug in your calculator. 1 plus negative 0.5 equals 1 minus 0.5 equals 0.5. So I know for my vertex, oh, sorry. And then I have to take it and divide it by 2, which is going to give me 0.25. So now I know x-intercepts are 1, 0, negative 0.50. Notice how I'm like labeling stuff so I don't forget what I just did, because I'm starting to get a lot of numbers here. And my vertex was, the x value of that is 0.25, and the y value I don't know yet. So I got to take my 0.25 and plug it into my equation. I'm going to plug it into the original. So let me see. I can see more of this page. So I'm going to take 2 times 0.25 squared minus 1 times 0.25 minus 1. Then I'm going to calculator it up. 0.25 squared, and I'm just using my calculator, is, now I can go bigger. 0.25 squared, following the order of operation, 0.0625. That's 0.25 squared, minus 1, 0.25 minus 1. Following my order tells me to take 2 times 0.0625. So let's do that. Times 2 is 0.125. And again, this is a calculator thing. I wouldn't be doing this in my head. Minus 1 times 0.25 is, this is still 0.25 minus 1. Okay. 0.0625 times 2. Make sure. Okay. Now I'm just going to finish this off. 0.125 minus 0.25 is negative 0.125. Minus 1 is negative 1.125. Same stuff. Use a calculator. You don't have to make this up. What did I just find? I just found the y value of my vertex is negative 1.125. Now I know everything. Let's get here. Let's see if this graph makes any kind of sense. And this is going to be it, you guys. So, x-intercept is 1, 0. And here's 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. X-intercept is 1, 0. Other x-intercept is negative 0.5, 0. That's going to be about right here. The vertex is at 0.25. So that's, we'll call this, we'll say that's about right here. And it's at negative 1.125. So if this was negative 1, and it'll be about right here. Boom, boom. There is my third parabola. All right. So that's what we got. For folks in my class, I've gotten a request to tell a bass story. So I might make a separate video if one of you guys want a bass story. I'll put it up sometime today, most likely. All right, just for entertainment purposes, because, you know, some of y'all miss me, man. Y'all want some bass stories. I appreciate it. All right, you guys have a great day. Let me know, or let Miss Pritchard know if you have any questions. Peace.